Hello, this is Mike Brown. This is my Module 6 Differentiating for All Students assignment, where we are to choose two different course resources and examine them for online accessibility. I'm going to do two separate videos. The first one is going to be based around the PowerPoint that you see in front of you. I do utilize PowerPoint quite a bit in my classroom. What this is a PowerPoint based around the representative elements on the periodic table. As looking at the online accessibility handbook, the first thing I wanted to run through was looking at my presentation in what was called outline view. And outline view kind of breaks the presentation down and shows how a screen reader would actually read the slides that are present. So it tells you that if you click outside of a text box and hit the tab key, it'll tell you or show you where the text boxes are and see if it's a logical progression as you tab down your slides. And I made sure I went through all of my slides and made sure that there was a logical progression through each of them. That way a screen reader would read them in the appropriate style. I also made sure to go through and identify my headings here as a larger font, and you know, like I said, the screen reader would be able to read them in two separate block settings there. Um, the other thing that I made sure I did on the slides, that I have clip art. I included an alt text that if I click on here and go to format picture, you can see I've included an alt text describing what it is, a battery, and it's a picture of a battery as an example. Now I could probably go into more detail here as an example of an alkali metal. And that way, if the screen reader reads that, it'll be able to give the student a little bit more justification of what that image is. Once again, I have the text boxes going through there, and that's pretty much the same for all of my images. I've added the alt text boxes for all of these images within the presentation that give examples as to where some of these elements are found in the everyday world. As far as the online accessibility handbook goes, it also talks about lists, and I have the tabs here that the extra information given, and as you go through, I have a few of these that tack on here. I'm thinking, hopefully, that based on using the PowerPoint design and the program itself, tabbing in like that generates the bulleted points, so the screen reader should be able to read those. One of the other things that I looked at in the accessibility handbook, as well as the textbook, it talks about color and making sure that your colors are a high contrast and sufficiently different, so that way any student that has a visual impairment can make sure that they can differentiate between the background and the text. The original text color for this background that PowerPoint created here was a lighter grayish green color. So I went ahead and changed it to black, black and white being pretty high contrast, obviously, so it's a lot easier to read those slides. One of the places I saw that happen here, the text actually spilled over into this green area, so I just dropped it down to the next line. That way I could keep it within the white background to give the best contrast there. As I said, throughout here I do have other pictures, and those pictures all have alt text that should be read no problem. Once again, I can just click on that and it can bring up the alt text here. So an image of salt and pepper shaker to show an example that halogens form salts. As far as the readings go, the UDL principles that I've kind of thrown in here in the background is with the alt text and the changing of the colors for clarity. That's kind of going to help everybody. As far as the principle one, use of text and audio-video representation, so improve perception and comprehension. As far as that goes, because these are clear and you have this high contrast going on, as well as the extra information there, it's going to help anybody that's trying to kind of ascertain what you're trying to teach here. So all in all, I think this presentation is going to be pretty accessible to anybody, especially since on top of that, going with the UDL principles, I will be not just giving this to the students, I would be giving a lecture with it, whether that's in the form of a screencast like this on an online classroom, or if it's face-to-face, I would be talking in front of the classroom using these slides as a sounding board to, kind of explain my examples. So hopefully that sums up this one as far as the accessibility goes, and I'll be including my second one shortly. Thank you.